In August 1992, the Jews of Yemen began arriving in Israel. The operation was kept a closely guarded secret. It was the result of 10 years of tireless effort on the part of the government of Israel and the Jewish Agency. They went through the absorption procedures like all other olim, except in their case, because of the special circumstances of this Aliyah, total secrecy was preserved until the story broke in the media. These olim are among the remnants of the Jewish community of Yemen that at its height numbered about 50,000 Jews. Most of them came to Israel in 1949. This was the first mass Aliyah to arrive in the newly established State of Israel. Taking their precious Torah scrolls with them, the Jews of Yemen boarded the unfamiliar flying machines in what became known as Operation Magic Carpet. The airplanes would span distance and time, taking them in a few short hours to a new world. Arriving, they kissed the earth that they had known only in dreams and in prayers. Once in Israel, they never forgot the families that stayed behind. Now, some of them are reunited with relatives they have not seen for 45 years. Cries of joy for a dream come true, but also deep emotion that spills over into tears as families come together after years of separation. The newly arrived olim take their first steps in Israel with the aid and encouragement of their families, who are by now an integral part of Israeli society. Their first glimpse of an Israeli apartment block, so different from the villages they have left behind. In the villages of Yemen, the women receive no formal instruction. Now, in an Israeli ulpan, they begin adjusting to a new culture, a new old language, a different sense of time. The children adjust more quickly because of their mastery of biblical Hebrew. Using the telephone is part of the process of beginning to feel at home in the unfamiliar new surroundings of the Jewish Agency Absorption Center in Rehovot, their first home in Israel. The kitchen is modern, but time-honored methods are not easily relinquished. From early in the morning, the Jamil family, who have been living at the absorption center since they arrived in Israel 6 months ago, have been hard at work, cooking for Shabbat. This afternoon, their 2 sons, who arrived in Israel just yesterday, will be here. Ra'ina spares no effort and prepares their favorite delicacies. At last, the moment they have been waiting for, the Jamil sons, Yichya and Yosef, with their wives and children, come to spend their first Shabbat in the Holy Land with their parents. Together with the joy, there are tears for close relatives left behind. The joyful reunion of the families began one day earlier at the Jewish Agency Absorption Center in Ashkelon. Veteran olim come looking for long-lost relatives. The air is electric. But behind the excitement, there is also bewilderment, even shock. Once here, the Olim take their first tentative steps in adjusting to a new culture. They still wear their traditional dress. Perhaps it's only a matter of time before we see some of them in jeans and t-shirts. For now, in the courtyard of the absorption center, the new Olim meet with the veteran immigrants, and they speak of that other country, Yemen. Back at the home of the Jamils, the 17 members of this one family are preparing to spend Shabbat together. Despite the excitement of seeing the grandchildren and the anticipation of this, their first Shabbat together in Israel, the joy is not complete.
كان بناتي وخواتي هناك 3 خواتي.
How many Jews still remain in Yemen? Probably less than 1,000, most of them in villages in northern Sana'a and in Saada. Until the time for Aliyah comes, Kol Yisrael broadcasts from Jerusalem keep them in touch with Israel. The only contact with relatives in Israel, parents, brothers and sisters, children, comes through letters brought by goodwill messengers from the United States and from Europe. For centuries, these communities have cherished their tradition and their faith as lovingly as they have preserved the Torah scrolls in their village synagogues. Ceremonies like this Havdalah service to mark the departure of Shabbat are observed together, strengthening the close bond between the Jewish families. This Jewish cemetery bears no conventional markings, but despite this, every Jew is able to identify the graves of his loved ones. The children are taught biblical Hebrew from an early age. Their teacher uses the age-old method of the stick to keep his students attentive. Thanks to Operation Magic Carpet 1993, many of these Yemenite Jews have now come home to Israel. With the assistance of Jewish communities across the world, through Karen Heysod United Israel Appeal, the Jewish Agency is funding this rescue effort as it continues to fund other rescue operations throughout the world. The Jews who have remained behind in Yemen have only one wish. What do we ask of you? Do not forget us.